Well, greetings from Constance and Charlie. We're here at the old Sebulus Juggernaut Camp, aka the Jugs Camp. We're killing Juggernauts, but mainly we're killing Froglog Reets. So this is the Froglog Reet Camp that we're working. We're going to show where they are. We're mainly after this Reet Froglog Crown, which we got on Constance. We're waiting to get it on Charlie. In the classic era, Kunark, you mainly want this for resist gear. It gets your fire and cold resists up by 20, which can help mitigate those AoEs against those classic targets like Nagafen and Vox or any other fire or cold based dragon. So yeah, it's resist gear in the classic era, but in the modern era, it's used to make the Wood Elf illusion, which we're going to quest that. We're going to show that as in our final video here, but I did want to show the Reet Camp. I didn't want to show how to get down here because there's a lot of videos on how to do that, and really it's more of just a pain. Although a failure is always good to show. And I think you got a little taste of that in my last video. So really, the Reets there are 3 little nooks, and of course Charlie is stuck on this little outcropping here. So geometry can be your enemy, so veer to the left here if you have boxes trailing behind you. There are Reets and Froglog Reets and Juggernauts in here. Mainly, I just cleared the Juggernauts first. They're on about a 20-minute respawn timer. I think it's a good time to just go ahead and, just because I know that we're probably going to get more Juggernauts to spawn here in a minute. I'm going to burn a Discipline here. They're on about a 20-minute timer, which is about as long as my Discipline. So I'm just going to melt these guys into paper shreds here. These are summoned creatures, so if you're tailing a Cleric or a Mage, don't forget your summon line. It is pretty mana efficient. You can see that Ashen Hand definitely, ramps your DPS up significantly. So, in terms of what these guys drop, they'll drop spells, mainly, the Juggernauts. The Reets will drop spells, gems. The Juggernauts will drop gems. This guy dropped a Pickled Froglog Eye. So there you go. There we are. There you go, piece of Defiant gear, which is nice. We'll give that to Charlie. Yeah, you got good loot, good AA ability. Right now I'm working, I think I'm about to finish natural durability under my AA line, which I can show. So for the Reet camps, and they're about to respawn, there's the entryway from the second story, right? The mushrooms are here, where we have Myconid Spore King. So we go in through this open door, and there's 2 Reets on either side of this camp here, like little guard rooms. Then there's a secret wall here, one of which will take you south, and one of which will take you north. Northeast and southeast. And so we'll go the northeast corridor, and that is my buddy right there. He's not Spirit of the Wolf, which is good. The Reet Froglogs come in 3 varieties. They come in Shaman, Wizards, and Knights. You got to make sure that you root everything or dispel off the Spirit of the Wolf. Because if the Reet Froglogs are running, they do run when they're at low health, and when they run away from you, there you go, there's a Froglog Reet Crown. Give that to Charlie. I'll go ahead and show the rest of these camps, just for the purposes of this video. When they run away from you, they can run into a room full of Juggernauts, or to Trachanon himself. I can show where Trachanon is. So here, this little nook here will spawn some Froglogs. And then we'll get this room here, which will spawn some Froglogs. Make sure Charlie has that crown. Yeah, he does. Cool. Very nice. This took about maybe 6 or 7 spawn cycles. Not too bad. So there's this nook here, and that nook there. And so we just got the one in the sort of northeasterly nook. You got to watch this little piece of geometry here, like we showed. And yeah, they're all in respawn mode. Man, I'm so glad that dropped. And I did clear all the juggernauts out of here, so I've been doing a good job of keeping the camp under control. So yeah, we're waiting for the Reach to respawn here. So, but yeah, now all I really have, now I'm on the easiest part of this quest, is basically just finding a tailor with a high enough skill to make the Velium Mastodon fur cloak. I gotta get a couple vials of distilled mana, and I have the rubies for that, so I need 4 rubies to make that. I think it requires 4 per vial, and then a poison vial. And then I think it's wood elf essence, or you need a wood elf parts and dark elf parts to make an elf essence, along with celestial essence, and that's a baked item, which we can show how to do that. But that's a no-fail combine. But that Velium Mastodon fur cloak, that is a very high trivial combine, so you need a master tailor to make that for you. So I'm probably going to be looking for a tailor. And yeah, Charlie's still on geometry here. So we'll go ahead and work. Hello. Go ahead. Yeah, okay, here we have, we got to get that Spirit of the Wolf he's casting off. So I think he'll be able to Spirit of the Wolf himself, but he's not going to Spirit of the Wolf the Knight. There you go, we interrupted him. So I don't really care about haste or whatever. I can heal through that. I can heal through getting beat up. As a matter of fact, I kind of want my cleric and shaman to, or my cleric and monk to get beat up a little bit so they can work their melee defense. But when they're running away from you and they run into a bunch of juggernauts, high-level juggernauts or dragons, you know, that's not cool. So a root is your friend, dispel is your friend, snare is definitely your friend. If you have a ranger in your back pocket or a druid, use them. That snare is really important, especially indoors. Okay, that's that nook. We're going to get the other nook. And again, I'm just doing this for completions because I already got my other crown. And we can show where Trachanon is. He's kind of a jerk. Okay, here's the other group. Just got 2 knights, cool. Yep, and we're working 2-hand blunt because Charlie's now he's maxed on his 1-hand blunt. Yeah, I think that when I feign death, it helps to position my rogue merc behind the mob. So I think having a monk with a rogue merc definitely ramps up your DPS. Sometimes she'll cast Bite of the Shizar on herself. Sometimes she won't, so I don't know what governs that. But you know, when I have a couple procs with Spider's Bite and she has a couple procs with Bite of the Shizar, then we just melt down these mobs so quickly that, you know, it can free my cleric up to do melee type work and work his battle cleric thing. And so he's been working his banish summoned versus these juggernauts. So don't ever forget those jugs are summoned creatures. There's one right there. Hey, buddy. So we'll go ahead and just feign and have Charlie engage. And what he's going to do is he's going to banish summoned. And you see, I can get about 8% of his health off with each banishment. It's a nice spell. So this is all just gravy here. You can see we got some respawns in the adjacent rooms. The joys of true boxing. And what that means is I'm not attacking. So it's a nice little 10-minute blurb, which I thought you guys would like. And so essentially now we're in the market for Wood Elf parts and Dark Elf parts and Celestial Essence and vials of Viscous Mana. Alright, so I'm going to leave these these Reets alone because they might have another crown for somebody that they might want. So I think it's a good time to just call this video good and head back up to the Guild Hall. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. Well, greetings from Constance and Charlie. We're here in the Plane of Knowledge, the day after our Plane of Sky raid. I looted a couple classic era fists. These are whitened treant fists. I'm not sure. I believe they're endgame, wrist items in the classic era, like some pre-Kunark. So Plane of Sky. It's where you get them. I'm not sure if they're for a quest. I'd have to look it up. So I'm literally just waking up the next day. Because that Eyeball Island, I got my perfected DMF dispelled, which that's annoying. So what I was wanting to do was head over to Grob and go to Guck, Upper Guck. We'll see if that old frog log is up. I have all the ingredients for the frog log illusion. I have all of it, and I tried to get this done before raid yesterday, and I didn't get. He wasn't up, and so I didn't. Rather than to sit there and wait for him and be late to raid, I think it better to make raid and just do the turn in the next day. So I'm gonna finish this video with Hippie. One of his alts gave me a cloak, and let me go ahead and equip this Scalp of the Ghoul Lord on Charlie, so he'll be Wormly faction. So yeah, one of Hippie's alts made me the Velium Mastodon Fur cloaks, but I had all the ingredients. So yeah, so what you gotta do is go into Guck this way. And boom, I'm trying to move quickly. You can see I have Bard speed, so I'm going to slow way down. It's because I'm still raid buffed. I do have some Spirit of the Wolf pots, but eventually I'm going to find a druid to give me shared wolf form with the illusion benefit Denna. And that was also dispelled from Constance. So I lost my levitation and I lost my, let's see, kind of lost everything. Alrighty. Oh gosh, why is he sinking? Man, Charlie, you didn't lose your perfected DMF. Oh gosh. Okay, give me a second here. Come on, Charlie. You're supposed to be not floating. Or you're supposed to be floating. You're not supposed to be sinking into this water. Alright, ladder. Boom. To True Box a tune, one of which is floating, and the other which is not floating. That's no fun. Okay, so he just dropped his Bard speed. Alright, so what we're going to do is we'll just go here a little bit slower. Or what we could do is we'll give Charlie, who's stuck on geometry, we're going to give him a Spirit of the Wolf potion. You slow poke. Boom. And he's going to drink that potion. And then I'll drink this potion. We'll get through this video content a little faster. And the only way I know how to do this is just to duck. If you're a smaller race like a halfling or a gnome, it makes it much easier. You don't have to duck. And again, Charlie's floating and Constance is not, but okay. There's an end to that. Okay. Okay, let's see here. So what I need to do is I first need to hand this picture book to the Froglock. The old Froglock. Hopefully he's up. You can tell I just woke up. And I'm sniffly and all those early morning wake-up symptoms. I have those. Alrighty. These guys love me. There's my old Froglog. Let's go ahead and hide corpse. Hey, old Froglog. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're first going to hand you this picture book. Give. Okay, then he gives me an elf essence recipe. Alright. Okay, so then you experiment. This is a no-fail combine. So you take this elf essence recipe, this celestial essence, which is a no-fail baking, then dark elf parts and wood elf parts. Combine that, you get an elf essence. So then you give him this vial of purified mana, this reet crown, this mastodon fur, and then this elf essence. There you go. Alright, let's do the same thing on Charlie. Cool. Wood elf. Alright, Charlie. So, give him the picture book. Thank you, sir. Okay, take that. The wood elf. The dark elf. Celestial essence. Boom. Then give him the celestial essence. Actually, no, I cancel that. Because I have one extra purified mana, which I'm going to give to Charlie here. Have a couple people to thank. Definitely have Cat P the Infiltrator. He helped me make these vials of purified mana, so thanks, Cat P. I also have Hippie to thank because he helped make those cloaks. And there is Charles Cheese in all of his wood elf glory. So here we are, two wood elves, wood elf monk and cleric. So I con as an ally, Charlie cons warmly. Let's see, it did give me an AA point. It did not give me any additional faction with these Froglogs. So, well, hey, that's awesome. So, boing. So the only thing that kind of stinks is that these illusions, when you zone, I think he looks much cooler as a wood elf than he does as a. I mean, look at that armor. That's cool. I kind of like Constance as a human a little bit more, but it's kind of neat. We can go to Felwith, and I think I'm gonna go to Felwith now. Maybe turn in some bone chips or something. Let's see here. Yeah, what I was saying is when you zone, the wood elf illusion gets dispelled. So you, I believe, certain races will get like a persistent illusion, which the illusion will persist when you zone, but probably not with these two tunes yet. I believe that's an AA line, and honestly, I forget which way you go. So I think you go up. So yeah, you just have to recast it. That's all. There it is. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, I definitely have Hippie to thank because you need a very high tailoring to convert the Mastodon furs, which we saw in my last video, to convert those Velium Mastodon furs into a Velium Mastodon fur cloak. You need 4 of those furs, a vial of purified mana, a cloak pattern, and some platinum thread. So those materials, in addition to them being kind of hard to farm and hard to get, kind of expensive, and the final turn-in, the cool thing is because we're wood elves, we're a little smaller, so I think Charlie still needs to duck, but Constance is nice and small, so these character sprites are a little smaller. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, the the final turn-in, it's a very, very high trivial item, so you have to be a high-level tailor in order to make the item. And you'll have to excuse me because I have just woken up and I don't usually walk out of here. I usually just gate out of here. But yeah, the high trivial, the 322 trivial, it's kind of hard to bring your tailoring that high when you're just messing around on a live server. I think eventually I might do that, but and you know, it's not that hard to bring your tailoring up, especially with like if you want to go and become a cultural tailor. It's not that hard, but you know, I just really, given all the farming that you do in this quest and the expensive combines and stuff, it's really not worth failing. And I think it's something where you'd want to get some AA abilities to give you some bonuses. Like tailoring mastery here, tailoring mastery. You'd want that to give you, you know, a modifier to help prevent a failure, salvage, all those things. Those would be key. And I haven't done any of that AA investiture, which you really need to do. You know, when you're talking about any item that, you know, has a fairly high trivial above 300, you're probably going to want to A, make the AA investments, and B, get a modifier for that skill. You know, I have a whole bunch of videos about poison making, and so what I would say is go into the poison making trophy video, and I can put a link in the description below. I discuss the poison making trophy, and I discuss trade skill bags in that video. And so you know, I did that on the Mangler server. So you know, I might do that on Verona Vibe, but that's right now this is just a super laid back group of tunes that you know, I'm just doing like classic content on this stuff and just doing farming and farming AAs just to get myself up to like the proper level requirement. Eventually what I'm going to do with these two is you know, I'll get all their AAs maxed out and get their gear where it needs to be, and then just like raid once a week and not have to worry about farming, because really it's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's just hanging out with the guys. It's just hanging out with my buds, and it's less about the grindy nature of the game. And this is the purposes of this video, is really to show that on a live server you actually can raid classic content and still have fun, and this game is super fun, and it doesn't have to be a grind. You know, grinding is less of an issue on a live server. So, you know, it can be whatever you want it to be, and it's, you know, it's really what I love about this game. So I guess the finishing thoughts here are that with Charlie, he looks a lot better as a Wood Elf cleric over an Erudite cleric. Let me bandolier to his epic. Now that's something to see. A Wood Elf with a cleric epic. Let's see a Wood Elf with a monk epic. Yeah, it's kind of cool that these are all let's see here. I can. Oh, I have her fists on. Let's take this off. There we are. So I think what you do, let's take that. Okay, there you go. So one thing I would like to do is there's this quest called an epic request, and what that does is you can quest an ornamentation for the epic 1.0, the 1.5, or the 2.0. And I believe you need to have your I'm not sure about this. You need to have your 1.0 or your 2.5. You need to have that, but you might not. So with that quest, an epic request, what it does is you travel all around Noranth, and what you do, and this would be a great video to make, but it is a pretty hard quest. I would need help. There's a travel component, and it's for every single player character. And it's a quest that you do by class. And what it does is it gives you an ornamentation that you slot in to the ornamentation augmentation in your primary weapon. And what that does is it converts your primary weapon into appear as either your Epic 1.0, your 1.5, or your 2.0. Now this Epic request came out during Omens of War, I believe. So I'm not sure I could do it with just my Epic 1.0. I think I'd have to get my Epic 1.5. So it's kind of hard to display my Epic because the Monk Epic it's not a weapon. It's a piece of armor that you slot into your hands. And the only way to get it to display is to take your gloves off and take your weapons off and just have the Celestial Fists equipped in your hand slot. But the cool thing is, with an Epic request for monks, you get an ornamentation of that Epic item, and you slot it into your primary slot, the primary augmentation slot, and it makes whatever your primary weapon is, it makes it appear as though you're as your Epic. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely something I'd like to do. But every single Epic request, and I would not do it for the Cleric, but I would do it for the Monk because I kind of like how the Epic looks. The only thing is, it involves traveling to every single zone where each class has their Epic, or a major part of their Epic. But it also involves a final fight. And the final fight is quite challenging. They have a challenging mechanic to them. So that's something, I might want to get some interest going and see if we could maybe take on some really challenging content. Because that kind of stuff, we can go through Plane of Sky like butter, and like a knife through butter, and we could definitely go through, I think at this stage, I think we could probably hit Kunark targets, given our AAs and our resists, and our, how uber our characters are. I think we can start farming Kunark content, but the question is, can we take on like a level 70 content? That I think we can, something like 5 or 10 levels higher than us, given our gear. That would represent a real challenge. So usually something that would just be one groupable when you're level 70, but can an entire raid force take on like an Epic request for an ornamentation? That would be something interesting for sure. So I was going to read through that quest, and I'm going to finish with some video footage of me and Hippie. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye, everybody. Well, hello from Constance and Charlie. We're here in the Plane of Knowledge. Hippie just made my 2 Valium Mastodon cloaks, so we're going to head over to Lower Guck and do the final turn-in.